Hi, everybody, and
Everybody.
welcome to a very special co-working. So today is very special because we're a bit late because my Windows leaked. So there was water on my computer, and I was scared everything would blow up, and I had to dry everything up and make sure there's no water everywhere. Now that is done, we can go back to business as usual. And this month we're welcoming Paulette to talk about her co-working, and she will talk about it in much detail. Coffee lifestyle, and it was inspired by the lifestyle we have at cafes. Paulette, thank you for coming today and for being my guest.
Thank you so much, Fanny, for having me as your guest and for like allowing me to be on this podcast. Thank you.
And I made a mistake. I was talking about the coffee lifestyle, but it's cafes lifestyle because, as I was saying before, I'm a tea lovers. So, but you're not kicking out people who don't like coffee but who like tea. It's fine, right?
Yeah, it's a cafe culture,
Hmm.
which is embracing, hot coffee, hot tea, cold, every whatever you drink.
What about lattes, like matcha
Oh,
lattes?
absolutely. Actually, my favorite is espresso macchiato.
Mm. Tremendous. Uh, and so, how did you come up with that ideas of cafe lifestyle based co-working?
So my co-working space is virtual. So it's a boutique online co-working space for women solopreneurs,
Hmm.
and I started it. Um, Actually, the germ of the idea started about 10 years ago when I had my. I was in corporate IT,
Hmm.
and then I left that, and I started a networking group on Meetup for women solopreneurs, and it
So
was
made up.
very
So it was
active.
very physical
It
at
is.
first.
It is very physical. We used to meet at the same restaurant every Wednesday morning, and it was very
Well,
active.
it's cafe lifestyle, but you used to go to a restaurant.
Well, in the cafe part of the restaurant.
No, I was thinking it's very creative. You're taking all the good thing in life, the cafes, the restaurants, the foods, the drinks, and you're putting them together.
Well, the restaurant, we used to meet there because the meetings were free. We used to meet there in the morning before the restaurant opened, but the meetings were
Ooh.
so people women loved it so much that it was a little cafe outside, so they
Yes.
they came from the networking and then went to the cafe. But the cafe is more for me a feeling and an
Hmm.
energy and an ambiance, and it's like there's something magical that happens.
Yeah.
um, you know, Now you walk in and they've got these long community tables. Well, when you come in and you have your laptop and you go to sit, it's kind of your, even if you don't know anybody, there's there's um there's an energy. It's like you're joining a community.
Yes.
And as you go more often, and you know this because you go to co-working and cafes, and um, even eventually when you keep going, then you get to know people and it's social. It's kind of
Yeah.
like pulling the water cooler from the office into a more
To a
friendly
real
space
cafe.
environment.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like that. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and a lot of people they
yeah,
like to. I was saying that I'm a freelancer, and as a freelancer, you usually work from home, and it can get boring and lonely. So a lot of people like to go to a cafe, an actual cafe to work from, because of all that energy and all the people they can meet, and to get that creative juice.
exactly. And so, I mean, as you're a freelancer working from home, I'm a solopreneur. Um, my business is all around serving women solopreneurs. So, uh, a lot of times it gets lonely. We get up in our head, we get all crazy because then, we start to back off doing what we really love, then we beat ourselves up, and it gets into a vicious cycle. So
Mhm.
whether you go to a cafe or co-working site or an alternative online co-working site,
Mhm.
you can log in and there's a friendly voice there. There's someone
Yes.
who's going to keep you accountable, someone who's going to be your cheerleader. Um, so
A friend. I've seen
exactly,
research
exactly.
saying that people perform at their job and are happy because they have at least one friend, one real friend that they know they're going to meet, and the rest doesn't matter. Just one friend.
Wow. Actually, that makes sense. That makes
It does,
sense.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So it
that's
kind
the
of
kind of community you're trying to
yeah,
build around the cafe lifestyle.
it is.
Mm.
So from 10 years ago, I started to like honestly for the first time in my life, I truly felt I found my tribe. I found my people with
Mm.
these women solopreneurs.
Yes.
Um, and it wasn't because the women came to network and generate more business. Um, it was because they were coming to find a community.
Mm.
So that kind of, and then along the way in the last few years, I switched businesses. I pivoted during COVID, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
um, it really came to me intuitively that what I really
Mhm.
wanted to do was create accountability hub with a cafe atmosphere.
Mm. So you were saying that you pivoted several times, and during COVID, I bet you had to switch to full online. Was it the first time you were managing a community online, or did you do it before?
I No, it was actually the first time that I saw the
Mhm.
possibilities.
Mhm.
It was eye-opening because I was doing something different
Yes.
and I was getting referrals and building up that business.
Mhm.
Um, but my heart wasn't into it.
Mm.
Um, and then during COVID, I still didn't see a community that
Yes.
was my peeps. There were communities for
Yes.
younger people, but not my
Yes.
peeps, not my peeps.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I totally understand that. Mm. What you just said made me think about I love Pilates and which is a kind of sport. And I love to do it at home in the morning. So I'm watching some videos on YouTube. And but a lot of people posting videos on YouTube are young women who can do all kind of exercises because they're super strong, they're young, they have a lot of energy. And I actually prefer teachers who are a bit older because they have more experience of life. So usually they have been sick in some ways before, and that's how they came to Pilates. And they see it less at performing and more are caring of yourself. So there are definitely different vibes depending on the person, on the age group, and that kind of things.
it is. I've tried several co-working sites in
Yeah.
person in the last few years, and
Hmm.
almost guaranteed I'm the only person with white hair there. So it just
Maybe
kind
it's just
of
diet, you know? You don't know.
possibly, possibly. Um, so that's why mine is more a boutique
Hmm.
co-working. So it's there are more of us,
Hmm.
women over 40, who are um, who are doing location independent,
Hmm.
and there's a dearth in services that are geared to them. But that's
Yes.
reawakening as well. So yeah.
Is that a recent trend? Because my feeling was that when I started working remotely pretty soon. was that a lot of young people would just dive into it, but the people with more experience were just used of a different way of working, and to them it was just logical to work on site, and they didn't understand how you could work remotely. But you're saying that they are more and more now. Maybe things are changing, or people have warmed up to it, or
like for example, journey women. I mean, that's been around for a long time,
hmm
and it's focused on women who are traveling. Some women who have businesses and traveling. Some people, and a organization like Adventurous Life. So they're for the 50 over women crowd, mostly women crowd, and they co-work or they go on a co-working vacation for a month at a time, different cities in the world. So women like us are
yes,
starting to emerge,
yes,
and it's
it's a
and
saying
also
now.
services. Exactly. Yeah. So it's going to be it's super interesting to see how that cafe, co-working, traveling, all that movement.
Yes, how it's going on. Yeah, yeah. I'm also pretty excited for that and all the different, flavors. If we go
Mhm.
back to the cafes image, or the different flavors people have, because it's totally different from one person to another. I was talking about a very small co-working that one of my previous guests had, and there were only 8 people in that co-working of, if I remember, 45 square meters. So it's very small.
Wow.
It's like this room, and that
Yeah.
was the goal. But I hosted people who had were managing a 2,000 square meter co-working space. So this really all kind of, maybe size or type of audience or lifestyle, there are really all kind of flavors. That's the conclusion.
Absolutely. And it's not one or the other.
Mm. Oh yes.
It's like you can do virtual on working because I do a lot of productivity. So for
hmm
me, it's a lot of productivity, deep work sprinting, events, and so a beautiful mix of being able to go to a actual in-person co-working because you
hmm
just need to get out of the bloody place,
Oh yes.
right?
Oh yeah.
And you need to see people get their energy. So
hmm
go to co-working and then also a mix of cafe. So it's and almost everywhere you go
Yes.
now, I mean, you we have way more access to that.
Yes, yes. I was thinking, I'm also for the bars. So having, we have, I started, so I'm pretty introverted, but I started going to networking events because there was an association in my hometown that was making events every 2 weeks about digital, very digital. So they made it about web analytics, which I do now for a living, about digital nomading, which I used to do for these last years, and all kind of different topic about anything digital. And so usually at a co-working space, and then we have. Or it brings a bar at the co-working space, or there's a bar, and we have some kind of networking event after the presentation about the topic. So it's a mix of sharing knowledge, co-working, and bar. That's my thing.
I think well I'm an ambivert. So I'm a mix
Mm,
between
mhm,
introvert and extrovert. So I'm actually not a fan of, and it's gotten more so in the last few years, big networking events. So I still prefer to
mm,
do my networking online.
mhm.
However, I love co-working spaces because a lot of them here do the same thing because they recognize a lot of
Mhm.
solopreneurs who go need that water cooler. Some of them even
Yes,
have water coolers, so it's kind of fun.
to do, to do. It's true.
Yeah, but there is actually a co-working space. It's not an actual co-working, but what they do is they go into restaurants and bars and cafes during the non-busy times.
Mhm.
And you can actually go online, book some time, pay, and go to let's say, a hotel restaurant and
That's so
work,
smart.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because a lot of downside of people going to work at the cafes, they go to the cafes, they take one drink, they stay the whole day, and
yeah,
it's bad business for the cafe owners. But if you're saying they're booking a spot when the time is done, and maybe they take some more drinks than just one, then it's a win-win for the worker and for the cafe.
exactly, exactly. And they don't usually, they might have to have one staff, but the coffee and tea is usually included.
Mm. So
Yeah,
yeah, you would pay for half the day or the day at a time
exactly.
when it is not at the cafe is usually not that busy, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
I
I
think it's
want
a
that
great,
here
yeah, yeah,
soon.
yes, yes. It might be for you.
I was thinking I should ask them if I can open a chapter here or something like that.
I'll send you their information because I follow them and they're growing all the time in Toronto. So, yeah, who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, I want to see more of those things and of collaboration between, the hotels and the cafes, the bars. And we were talking in the previous episode, we were talking about dancing. And I think one of the first co-working space in my hometown was created in a former club. So why not club? They don't do anything during the day. So,
Exactly, right? Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, with co-working
Mhm,
and more people, more nomads, location independent,
mhm.
um, I mean, there are going to be more opportunities for creative thinking on how to serve that audience. I mean, there's more countries now who are giving out digital visas, nomad
Yes,
visas.
yes, it's true. It's
So,
true.
yeah.
What about you? How does that look like today? Your cafe lifestyle?
So, for me, I'm looking at creating a global community,
Hmm.
giving reaching out and collaborating and serving an audience of silver silver nomads because we are everywhere and
It's
as
true. Hmm.
it is and we're kind of in behind the scenes right now,
Mm,
but as we get more visible with
mhm.
what's available, that cafe culture, the nomad cafe culture is going to expand, and more women are going to, um, you know, going to either create something themselves that they want themselves
Yes.
and create communities. I am, it's one of my visions goals. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's a pretty big leap, like
yeah,
to be a nomad, to travel regularly is it's a lot of work, and it can bring a lot of energy, but it can drain a lot as well. I've experienced that. And making creating your own business, especially if it's from scratch or as a solopreneur. We were talking about how a freelancer can work from home and be
mm,
a bit lonely, but I guess it's the same with solopreneurs, especially with their own business and their own circumstances. It can get pretty difficult.
it is. Oh, and so there's also like a lack of um, accountability, mental self care.
Hmm.
So and with that goes, a lack of consistency and productivity. So I host part of my hub is hosting productivity sprints,
Yes.
and a lot of the feedback I get from that is just the fact that someone knows they're going to log in, join a community, and have some accountability and get work done is enough
Hmm.
to get out of bed in the morning.
Yes.
right?
And we're going back to what we were talking about friends and going to a place where we know we have a warm voice
Yeah,
calling us out and a reason, to go to work and to be excited for the day. Of course, there's business performance and the result you can get, but there's ups and downs. And during those times, having buddies alongside is always a plus.
it is. It's like when you feel good, you're doing good,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so true.
yeah.
Mhm. And
So,
you were
mhm,
talking also about accountability.
yeah. So I have part of one of the events, well, two events that I host is one is
Yes.
goal planning. So it's kind
Hmm.
of it's a hybrid form of goal planning. It's goal
Hmm.
planning for women who embrace their spiritual side. So there's a little bit of woo woo, looking back, lessons learned.
Yes,
We
yes.
also focus on business goals. And so if someone hasn't done them yet, I've got a monthly meeting to introduce that. And I have a worksheet that comes with it. But
That's
also,
awesome.
like, what the heck is when people say, no, goals don't work? It's like, yeah, you probably went through the whole process of creating all these goals for yourself in the beginning of the
Yes,
year. Then
yes.
you park them on the shelf, let them get dusty, and don't look at them again until the end of the year, right? So I host a
Mm,
monthly goal check-in
yes,
um, to do a quick review and see where your goals are. Maybe they have to be arranged, the timeline is off.
yes, yes.
Maybe you're marketing something that, you know, should have been parked. So it's that kind of accountability, that kind of support.
It's a living being. You have to take
Yeah,
care of it, otherwise it's
yeah,
gonna die.
yeah, yeah. Do you do goals, Fanny?
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I'm big on data, so I work in data, and I love data and put colors and make graphs, and so I have all kind of goals. I'm reviewing all my financial and time goals, and it's huge.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I try to not take too much time, doing it.
yeah,
So to be efficient and to go to it regularly, go back to it and see that actually I already done that goal and I can do the little check and have them in green and remove. I don't remove them. I keep them,
yeah.
and I cross them or put them in green or whatever to just show how much I've done and be like, yeah, that was a good year. Something like that.
So do you have a little dance party celebrating your goals?
Well, I was talking about celebration and how to celebrate big and small wins.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm very about routine. So it's in my routine that every day I deserve to read a bit because I love reading. So having that reading time for me is very special. Every week I got a smoothie, a small smoothie. That's a bit expensive, but I love it. And just, it's a reward, so I deserve it,
yeah,
I can
yeah.
I can spend that money on that smoothie and those kind of things. Tea is also some kind of reward, and chocolate. I love dark chocolate. 85% is mine, like 90 is too much and 80 is too little, so 85% chocolate. That's
I like 72.
I feel
70.
you there. Hmm.
Isn't Belgian chocolate some of the best in the world as well?
Well, I'm totally biased, so don't trust me, but yes, it is. Especially the one from my region is the best, obviously.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I'll have to try it. You have to let me know, where I can find some.
yeah, maybe they have some shop. It was very interesting. I was in Panama last year, so very far from Belgium, and they had my city chocolate at the supermarket. And I was like, this is unheard of. So, yeah, it could be.
Isn't that like a moment when it feels like home? There's just a connection there? The small things, right?
Yeah, because it's something you used to see in your hometown and you haven't seen it anywhere. And then you see it at the supermarket very randomly and like, they have that here. It's like home.
Yeah.
Mm, it's true. It's true. I was very impressed by something we just talked about a few minutes before. You were talking about spiritual inclined people or people working in the spirituality industry or those kind of things. And I was very amazed because a few months ago, a friend well, last year, a friend went to Guatemala, and there's a famous lake, I forgot the name, I'm sorry, in Guatemala. And a lot of people work on their spirituality there. And she was around all those spiritual minded people. And she was saying they work on all those tremendous things, but they're not very business oriented. And they have a lot of difficulties with everything that's business like or tech or that's not their thing. And they need a lot of help for that. And I feel that's just what you're working on, right?
It is. Like in my group, for example, I
Mm-hmm.
have a death doula who's also a Buddhist who's studying spirituality, but is a website master.
Mm,
Yeah, I have a psychic, a healer. So I, so I'm attracting those
yes.
kind of women.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting. I also do networking on Lunch Club.
Yes.
And so it's one-on-one.
No way. I used to be on Lunch Club, and we didn't
Oh,
meet there, right? We met on some other
no,
platform, huh? But we
no.
could have.
Well, one of the things that, speaking about the spirituality is in the
Mm-hmm.
last I only do it every couple of weeks, but in the last few weeks, the people that I've met are women who are combining a business role like a webmaster or a coach or a marketing consultant with their spirituality. They're blending the two. And
Mm.
that also is evolving, and people are women who have a business like me or data analytics like you, who are allowing their spirituality to embrace it and
Mm-hmm.
market it to other
Yes.
spiritual things, because that's also an underserved community.
Totally, totally. I feel we really separate, for example, the spirituality, but also the artistic or the creative sphere, and then the more data, logical, mathematics sphere. And I understand some people are better with words or with math or with other things, but usually the good stuff comes in when you combine them together, when you blend them, I was saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
totally agree.
yeah.
We're part of an exciting era.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. I'm so excited about all the possibilities, there is, and all the effort people, the smart and hard work of the people, seeing them, it inspires you.
Yeah, yeah.
Talking about inspiration, what would you like? What is the next step for you? What do you plan to do in the future? Do you have already something concrete, or?
Um, I'm right now I'm actually focusing on reaching out, building my business, growing
Mhm.
adding more members to the hub, doing more marketing, and creating collaborations um,
Hmm.
with other women. And but if my audience, if the people in your audience would be interested in experiencing a work sprint, then I can offer a guest pass to to whoever wants one. Yeah, they could just have to reach out, and you'll have my
Oh.
contact details. Yeah,
Yeah, sure, sure. We're gonna put the details in the comments, and yeah, actually, we're coming to an end. So I wanted to ask if there's anything else apart from all this. We really went in all direction, but I think it was needed. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
if there are um, women who are feeling like the stress of solopreneur, um, I was just to make it very quick, but I was on Lunch Club and I was talking to a guy in
Yes.
Germany,
Hmm.
and his girlfriend is American, living in Germany, and she's a remote worker,
Hmm.
and her project was based in France,
Hmm.
and she was feeling the pangs of loneliness and disconnection so much. She was
Oh,
actually going to
yes.
quit her job and
Wow.
look for something where there was um, a local company.
Yes.
So if somebody is feeling that and you want some place to, you know, find to roost,
Yes.
just reach out
You're
because
there.
yeah, um, maybe it's just a pep talk you need every once in a while, or a community. Yeah.
We all do.
Or
We all do.
listen to your podcast.
Yeah, and it all comes back to what we're talking about, having friends and having a community, having people waiting for you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So thank you so much, Fanny.
Well,
I so
no, thank
appreciate.
you. It was amazing. It was so interesting, and I'm super inspired now about all the things we talk about. I just wanted to ask you, where is the best place to contact you if we want to know more about your community?
So on my website,
Hmm.
CafeLifestyle.rocks, if
Hmm.
they want to book a virtual coffee with
Yes.
me, or if they want to, I have free journal prompts. If you're like a beginning journaler, there are free journal prompts. I love journaling. It's one of the things that keeps me sane.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, and there's also you can book a work sprint on there. So, by all means, or I'm on Instagram. That's actually my where I do
Hmm.
most of my um, stories and reels and
Communication.
journal
Yeah.
prompts
So
and
your
stuff.
website and then Instagram.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
or on
Roger that.
LinkedIn. Yeah,
They will be added in the comments so people can easily find it. Paulette, thank you so much for our talk. It was so amazing
thank you very much.
about all the different topic. It was really great. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you very
Yeah.
much, Fanny.
Bye.